Hey, what's up? John Sonmez here, and I have a fitness video for you today. A lot of people have been asking me how to build a V cut. How do you build that V cut? For you guys out there, that's the most popular, most aesthetic look is you want to have the V cut. It's actually more important aesthetically. You're going to look better to have this V cut or this V taper as they call it, rather than to actually be just large. Okay, the biggest thing that you can do aesthetically, I would say, is to have the V cut, and then the second biggest thing is to be lean, to be jacked, ripped, right? That's the most important, whereas most people are focusing on size. And that was me for a while. I was like, oh, beefcake, beefcake. I'm looking big, but I wasn't quite that aesthetic at 25% body fat and 300 pounds, even though I could bench 405. Didn't matter that much, but I look a lot better now with a lot less muscle, right? Because mostly because of the V taper and being lean. So how to get the V taper, right? How can you do this, right? And my program that I'm working on, I'll be putting out, is completely focused on this idea because, let's be honest, guys, what's the real reason why you're in there in the gym killing yourself lifting weights? It's not to be more healthy. Fuck, stop lying. It's not to be more healthy. It's not so you can live longer. It's because you're fucking vain. I'm fucking vain, you're fucking vain, we're vain. We want to look better. We want to look aesthetic, right? So building the side, and some people are like, oh, well, I like pumping iron. It's fun. It's my hobby. Yeah, but you want to get bigger, right? And so some of you have a warped sense of aesthetic. You think that just being larger looks better, maybe to you, but in general, if you want to look better to everyone else, then you want that V taper. Okay, so how do you get that V cut or that V taper? So first, the biggest thing, and actually scientific studies have proven this, okay, that the most aesthetic look for a guy, right? There's actually a book. What is the book? Why Women Have Sex. You can check out that book. I did a review on it, okay? Honestly, there's a study in there, and the most aesthetic is to have that V taper, which is the shoulder to hip ratio of men, right? So you want to have, you know, broad shoulders and a smaller waistline, right? It's actually, you know, waist ratio. So okay, so how do you do this? Okay, there's a couple of things. Well, genetically, your shoulder width is kind of predetermined, right? You can't, some people have these big barrel, you know, bodies where they've got, you know, they've got an advantage there naturally, okay? And so genetically, you're working with a certain shoulder span of where these shoulders, actually the bones are, okay? And the same thing with your hips, okay? Now, I've got a bit of a deficit having somewhat wide hips for a guy. Okay, but I can make up for it by having wide shoulders. So what we want to do is, in order to build that V taper, a couple of things. The number one thing that we want to do is we want to build the side deltoids, okay? And these are notoriously the hardest to build, right? Because there's, what exercise you do for it? You just do this. That's it. I mean, there's a few other ones, but you want to build those, okay? And you want to build this up. And some of the best exercises are, of course, the side laterals, but I stole this tip from Athlete X, and he said, like, pause here and then come up. And that made a lot of difference for me. So what you want to do is you want to train the side deltoids. You want to train them frequently, and you want to use heavy weights, right? Or heavy enough weights, and do that pause, do a variety, do the machines, right? Do them in various ways, but I found that training them about 3 times a week seems to work really well, right? The front is good, but the side is where I try to put more of the emphasis because that's more important. Because think about it, right? The bigger that your shoulders are going out this way, right? The more that your side deltoid is, the bigger your shoulders are gonna be overall. So that's number one, okay? Now, number two is, again, to create that V, you want to be wide up top, right? You want to create the V. So what else, right? Right here, this muscle, the lat, okay? So you want to build the lat. So a lot of guys, beginners in the gym, what they focus on is chest and biceps, okay? And it's good, but they're missing backs. They're like, oh, I don't see the back. I don't see the back, so I don't work the back. That used to be me when I first started lifting weights, okay? But what you want to do, next priority, is building big lats, okay? You want to have wide, large lats because that's going to create that V, right? You've seen this lat pose, right? I'm not exactly you know, and you can see that the lats, right, stand out there, and that creates that shape. By the way, also the clothing choice can make a difference. See what I'm wearing right now? See how this creates kind of a V taper? But okay, so how do you build the lats? Okay, my best way of doing it is to do weighted pull-ups. Right? You can do chin-ups or whatever, but weighted pull-ups, you know what I'm talking about? It doesn't have to be, you can do wide grip, you can do close grip, but the most important thing is that you add extra weight to it, okay? Now, some of you can't even do a pull-up. That's fine, that is a weighted pull-up for you, but if you can do, you know, 8 pull-ups, then you need to start adding some weight, and you need to progressively start adding weight so that you can actually build these lats, right? There's a lot of other lat exercises that you can do, but that's going to be the primary one that's going to build those lats and make them thick and make them bigger, which is going to create that V taper. Next, what else can you do here? Okay, the next thing that you can do is reduce the waist, okay? Now, unfortunately, there's not much, you know, a lot of people debate this. They're like, should you do vacuums, or you go and suck it in? I haven't found anything that really shows abdominal vacuums to work, you know, very effectively. Maybe you can make a slight difference there. The biggest thing is going to be just losing the body fat, right? And for you guys, right, if you're like me, I store it right on the sides and the back, okay? And the thing is, like, in order for me to have a better V taper, I have to just lose that off of the lower abs, off of the sides, off of the back, and then that creates that. You know, the bigger your shoulders are, the broader they are, and the bigger that your lats are, the less that will matter, but it's still going to make a difference. It's still going to make a big difference. So you just got to reduce your body fat in order to, you know, to make that happen. Okay, what you don't want to do is necessarily focus on any kind of, you know, building up the you know, the Adonis. I mean, you're okay with that, but like building the obliques too much would be probably bad, because, you know, it's going to expand out there and kind of ruin that V taper. So that's it. I mean, that's really the key there. If I were to give you, if you're like, I want to get the V taper as much as possible, you know, what's the most effective things? Like I said, first priority is going to be your shoulders. Second is going to be your lats, okay? And then the third is going to be to reduce the body fat as much as possible in order to bring in that waist and make that waist actually look smaller, right? Or be smaller, you know, relative to the other two muscle groups. So when I design workout programs, and like I said, I'll be putting out a program, a diet and fitness program, to help you to be able to do what I'm achieving here, you know, to have a similar physique. What I focus on is I focus on upper body, right? And I focus on specifically the delts, especially the side delts, and focus on the lats. I try to hit those hard and hit those heavy, and a lot of times even hit those first in order to build those out, because those are going to be the most important things that are going to bring out your physique more than anything else, right? They're going to be the most noticeable things. There's a lot of people in the gym that you see that are really big. They can bench a lot. They've got really big chests. They even got really big arms, but you look at them and you're like, kind of weird looking. Like, you don't look good. You should look good, like you got more muscle than me, but you don't look as good. And the reason why is because they don't have the right proportions. Proportions are really important, and you have to understand getting this V taper, this V cut is critical. All right, that's all I have for you today. If you have any questions, you can leave a comment below, and make sure you click the subscribe button so you don't miss any videos. I suggest you click the bell. All right, talk to you next time. Take care.